Well, thank you again for joining us today. My name is Loren Maisels. I'm from Toronto, so for those of you who are first time or coming back to our city, welcome. I hope you've had a beautiful stay here, and especially at this gorgeous property. Who attended Jacques' session this morning at 9? A few of us. Okay, so it was a party. I didn't know he was doing that, so by no means am I copying him, but we're gonna move a little bit to start with because you just had lunch. We wanna get the body moving. It helps with the blood sugar, gets us in the mood. So are we all game for that? Yes? Okay. And we're gonna do it with one of my new favorite songs, which is... No? Thank you. Has everyone heard this song yet? No? Okay, so fellow Michael Bublé, Canadian. Jason Derulo, Miami local, bringing the heat. So I want everyone to stand up, put your stuff down. We're gonna move and show me your spicy margarita. Does that sound good? I wanna see what you think a spicy margarita looks like, yes? The song will definitely bring it out of you, I promise. Okay, let's do this. Amazing, thank you for participating. For showing your spice, Leah, we're gonna give you one of our Canadian prize packs. A little bit of, there you go. There's some goodies in there that we're well known for, so enjoy. Thank you for participating. This is my guru. I love Brené Brown. I don't know if any of you are a fan, but she says vulnerability is the willingness to show up and be seen with no guarantee of the outcome. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for your spicy margaritas and playing along with me. I really appreciate it. As I said, my name is Loren Maisels. I'm the founder and president of LOMA Marketing Agency. We're an agency based here in Toronto, but we work with clients in the USA and Canada. And I'm really happy to be here and represent my city. So thank you for coming. Where's everybody from? Shout it out. Missouri, Seattle, DC, California, West Coast, Southern, Northern, Southern, SoCal, Oakville, yeah. Toronto, T-Dot, love it. So we have a great representation and thank you for coming. And if anyone wants tips, if anyone's staying tonight and you want tips in the city, see myself or Amy and Matt and Angelica from my team are here. We're happy to share any things that we can help with. Just to share a little bit about who we are in case you haven't heard about us. We are an event marketing agency that focuses on strategic creative experiences. I've been in the event space for about 20 years now, and both on the agency side and corporate side, and in 2016 I decided to start my own agency, which has been a wild ride. Hello, COVID. And I'm sure a lot of us experienced that, but came out the other side, and thankfully we're celebrating 8 years this June and work with a lot of great clients on not just creating great experiences, but how do we create them strategically? Events can be expensive. How do we make sure the ROI is really manifesting and people are happy with what they're focusing all their dollars on? We just relaunched our values and I'm really proud of them, so I wanted to share them. We focus on all of the forests, all the trees, so for us it's about big picture and all the little details. We're memory makers and chaos coordinators. I don't think I have to explain that one very much because I'm sure we all know what chaos coordinators or this industry helps infuse meaning into that. We lead with heart and create with care. So for us, it's not just about the project, it's about the people behind the project and the communities we're serving. So that's really important to our core. We're all about savvy thinking and strategic planning and tapping into our network of amazing partners. And we're in it together, win it together. For us, we don't believe we've succeeded unless the project has succeeded and you succeeded. It's a win-win situation. So that's a little bit about who we are. And today I'm here to talk about event marketing when budget is top of mind. So obviously, everybody is struggling to get people to their events. We're hearing a lot about last minute registrations. How do we, what are some of the tactics we can leverage to drive people to attend. And I know there's a mix of different people in the room, from associations to corporate. So some of the things I share may not necessarily apply to your space, but I'm sure you could tweak them. And I'd love to hear from you anything you've tried in particular that you could share with us that we can learn too. This is a two-way dialogue. I'm sure there are things we haven't done yet. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to cover components of successful event marketing, current event attendance objections, marketing tactics for the budget-conscious attendee, and we'll touch a little bit on mutually beneficial ideas for you and your sponsors. And at the end, we're going to have some fun and do some trivia. So, sound good? Sound like a plan? Amazing. So first off, I wanted to revisit what are the components of event marketing. Most of us are probably familiar with these. It's just a refresher. But there's the discovery, where we ask all the questions and get started. We focus then on a targeted approach. Clear strategy is really important. We then measure and analyze, a huge important part of our initiatives. We focus on an exceptional experience. That's an easy one, I think, for a lot of us. And then follow-up and feedback. This is my personal favorite because it's how we improve year over year, really important for us. So let's go through them in a little more detail, starting with discovery. So discovery is when we ask ourselves all the W's, right? And we start with our objectives. What is the objective of your event? Is it to increase membership? Is it to drive leads? Is it to increase revenue? Is it to take leads into prospects and turn them into customers? Is it to drive further revenue within your customers who are attending? Focusing, is it brand? Is it a product announcement? What is the initiative that you're really looking to leverage your event for? And so to do that, we have to focus on, who is interested? Why are they interested? What's unique about my event? That's a really hard thing to hone in on, right? Because all of the events talk about networking and all these common buzzwords, but what is the really unique element about your event, and how does it speak to your audience? Who's competing for your audience's attention and time? I know in our space, there's a lot of different events we go to. There's WEC, there's PCMA, I'm sure there's regional events in your cities. So what makes you decide to go to each event? What are those deciding factors? And what will your audience gain by attending the event? What are the benefits to them? What are they going to walk away with? This kind of sets up your clear framework for really establishing your key messages that you're going to run through your campaigns to market your event and drive that attendance. Next up is targeted approach. And if you don't already see, I love GIFs, so bear with me. It's about understanding how to tailor your message so it appeals to your audience needs and interests and preferences, right? That's key. We don't want to broad strokes the message. We really want to tailor in and zone in on the key message. Crowdsourcing content. How many of you go out to your attendees and ask them for session ideas? Great. And how does that work for you? What's your name? Kristen.
Yeah, we do. We've got a pretty specific audience, though, with Pilates instructors.
Oh, okay.
So we'll ask them, what equipment they would like to learn on, or what haven't they seen in that area, and whichever geographic location we're going on to in the world.
Right.
So ours is a little bit more unique and maybe easier to do that.
That's great. And how far out do you ask them those questions before the event takes place?
One time we asked right after an event. Another time it was 8 months before.
Okay. And then you really try to incorporate that into the program.
We look at the post-show report.
Okay.
The post-show evaluation.
Survey. And then you carry that through.
And we carry it through.
Fantastic.
And we do them internationally, so globally we have 3 or 4 of these events a year.
Right.
And so sometimes, we'll ask if they're going to, another one in 6 months, are you going to the one in Vietnam or wherever it is? And they, if they say yes, then we try not to, if we have a lot of
Repeat.
events, we
Yeah.
try not to repeat.
Yeah, and so I think what that does, that's fantastic, is those attendees feel seen and heard, because then when they're looking at that agenda, they're like, oh, I remember making that suggestion, right? And so crowdsourcing content can have an invaluable element to really someone sort of seeing something they want to learn and really tipping them over and helping them register. How can you sweeten the deal? I think a lot of us here, we're getting credits to keep our CMP or towards our CMP, so that's a huge advantage. But what are other things you can do to sweeten the deal? Call to action. What are their needs? What is a value to them? And that goes back to really understanding who is attending and what they value. And then creating a sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. We all, want to be a part of experiences that our peers are or your network. So how do you create a sense of FOMO? Because that does have a really great effect. It's like a Taylor Swift, try get a ticket, good luck, Godspeed type effect. That's almost impossible. So we want to really try and create that anticipation. That FOMO is hugely helpful. And please stop me along the way if you have questions. Interrupt me. Happy to jump in. Next on the list is clear strategy. So we want to create our detailed plan. Now, a lot of us are really great at doing this. We create our milestones, our critical paths, our work back, but looking really at the key messages we need to drive and how far in advance we need to be thinking about those milestones. When do we want to drip content announcements? When do we want to really push and pull the levers we're planning? We want to consider budget, the venue, location, all built into the strategy. That's a huge part. And then obviously identify the promotional channels that you feel most effectively will reach your audience. How many of you heard about CMP Advance through an email? For those of you who didn't raise your hand, how did you hear about it? LinkedIn, okay. Oh, great. Awesome. How about yourself? LinkedIn? Recommended it, okay. Anybody else? So yeah, I got quite a few emails, but obviously LinkedIn, the professional network, and email for our audience works really well, right? Instagram, maybe not so much, So really honing in on the right channels that will meet your audience's needs. And the emails are great, by the way. And next, we want to focus on measuring and analyzing, our tactics, right? So first, in your strategy, you want to understand what are the key metrics? What are you looking to measure? Are you looking to accelerate your registration rates? Are you looking to make sure that people don't just register, but they attend? Are you looking at hotel pickup, right? We all have contracts and commitments. We want to make sure we hit our attrition and don't get penalized. Are you looking for new leads to register and come and download your content? Are you measuring your social engagement, your web traffic? What are your KPIs? What are really driving your marketing initiatives? And then adapt where you invest your time and money, right? So if it's email, like how could we further, tap onto publications and newsletters and tap our event into there? If it's LinkedIn, could we focus some paid LinkedIn ads to groups or to other members who we think would find the event valuable? So really honing in that strategy. Exceptional experience. We all love that part, seeing all of our hard work come to fruition, I think is a large part of why we do what we do. So, focusing on delivering that amazing experience, creating those surprise and delight moments that people remember. But how many of you, I know we're all, behind the scenes a lot, planning, running around, but how many of you actually go to sessions or participate in your events that you work on? Can you tell us a little more? Do you attend sessions? Do you just walk around? Do you talk to people?
Well, our events are mostly education, so I'm in the session.
Yes. And when you're in the session, are you listening to content, or are you kind of picking up on things people are saying, giving feedback?
I watch to see how engaged they are with this presenter, because we bring in out-of-town facilitators for
Fantastic.
our sessions.
Yes.
So I kind of want to see how they're reacting to that person.
That's a great way to do it, right? Facial expression. Are they paying attention? Are they on their phone? Are they asking questions?
Participating when he asks them to do stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Great example. What's your name?
Lori.
Lori, thank you. Yeah, so really, even if it's just creeping around, I like to walk around an event and kind of just sort of listen in to what people are saying and just make notes, because they may not tell it directly to the organizers, but overhearing some of those key things like, oh, my towels in my room are dirty on the floor, whatever it is, right? If you kind of take note of those things, you focus on them for the next time. Inviting a speaker back, was the content great? So I think we all need to try, if we can, take some time to really, at an event, pick up on those things that we can improve on for the future. And then you can people feel like, again, that you're paying attention and they're being listened to. And then follow up and feedback. So of course, I said this is something I'm passionate about. Thanking attendees for participating. So it could go beyond just an email. I know phone is old school nowadays, but how many people pick up the phone and call some of your repeat attendees and personal touch and just, it was great to have you. That goes a long way, and I'll talk about that a little more. Your post-event survey, what are the incentives for someone to fill it out? Will they get a discount off next year? Will they get admission to a future initiative or course or whatever you're doing, like some sort of incentive? Why should I complete it? What's in it for me? And swag is always great. Everyone loves swag, as long as it's not another maybe water bottle that you feel like you don't need. Can you focus on securing testimonials for future marketing initiatives? Those are really powerful. And not a testimonial that just says, Bob, put a person and a face to it so that, you make it human and really get permission, obviously, but that goes a long way when people can see from their peers, from their community, that the event was valuable and why. So as best as you can in those post-event surveys, try and do that. Yes?
I just want to give input on that. So we do video promotion of our event, and we released all of our promotional videos for our trade show. And one of the people that was in the video saw himself, and it went wildfire on LinkedIn and Facebook. He's like, look, I'm there. He was just attending.
Yeah.
He was so excited to see himself in the video.
Yeah.
And he was all over social.
Yeah, vanity, it's amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic, right? And then he shared it for you. You didn't ask him to, probably, right? Thank you. What's your name? Erin, thank you. Great example. Schedule follow-up calls with first-time attendees. If you can see people are attending for the first time, why did they attend? What did they think as a first-time attendee? You'll get a lot of great feedback from those first-time attendees that you can apply. Recognize your repeat attendees, like your alumni group. There are some people that come to events year after year after year, like 10 years. They deserve some sort of recognition, right? Assemble an advisory council to inform content or further planning decisions. Does anybody have that implemented currently, whether it's internally or other stakeholders? Yes?
We do that.
Okay.
We do a planning committee.
Amazing. And these are attendees or part of your community?
We do attendees, and we try to get the cross-section geographically roll. We do them usually about 6 months before the event to kind of reinforce any initial content that we've identified, and also helps us source speakers, and also if there's somebody who's really passionate about something, they might be able to design a session. So it's a great way to engage folks in non-volunteer, volunteer roles.
Absolutely, yeah. And do you change it up every year, or those people are invited back every year?
We change it up every year. Some folks are they might be invited a few years later for a different event, just depending on how much they would like to be engaged.
Fantastic. Great example. Thank you. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa, thank you. Debrief internally. So after every event, our team sits down and we just brain dump everything, right? We just nothing. We just let it all out. And then we take that and we put it into a post-event debrief that we then match with all the sort of data and analytics and sort of present that back with the client to show, what worked well, what we can improve upon. The best part about that is when we come to the event the next year, we look back at that document. And it wasn't just an exercise to do it. We look back and say, remember, this is what we said we'd do differently. So it acts as a great reference point to show that we're listening to people and we're making changes and improving the experience. Again, that goes back to helping people make the decision that they want to come to your event.
Can I share something about
Yeah.
So I think words got in our association. I always tell everyone, this is back from my hotel days, that
that if something is not right, you need to let me know while we're still on site.
Yes.
Don't wait till after the event, because it's also not fair to the hotel or the venue. They can't fix it if
Fix
they
it.
don't know that there's something wrong.
Yes.
And I think now I don't even have to tell them, because our members seek me when something's wrong, which I appreciate.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, great, let me know, and then let's get this fixed. Let's talk to the hotel. But everything, I mean, it's a much better ending versus just seeing it in the
After,
feedback
yes.
sheet, and we're like, oh, we didn't even know there was an issue.
Yes.
And then everyone's talking about it, but no one told us. So,
Yeah.
So I think it was important for us, even with our staff, to let them know that if, even in your end, if there's something that's not going right, make sure you tell me, and I'll talk to the hotel and
Yes.
see how we can fix it.
Real time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to steal that and maybe tell our clients to put it up on their housekeeping slides. And I love that one. Thank you. Any questions before we move on to objections? Yes.
Maybe on the last slide.
Yes.
So on some of the last things, like, so sometimes these activities can take us into places where we'd rather not be.
Mm-hmm.
Can you offer maybe any thoughts or maybe tactics that you maybe use pre-doing this, where you maybe like try to shape your folks into a positive, or at least not to dive into a negative mindset?
Yes. You mean in the debrief?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I can't remember, it was Sean yesterday, he called it the shit sandwich. But you know, we kind of normally formulate it not as like negative, it's like things that worked well and things that we can improve on, right? We recognize that we're not perfect, nothing's gonna be perfect. And so we try and, obviously we wanna amplify all the great things and equally focus on those. Now there are some things we can't control. Sometimes we leave those things off because, to your point, that's not going to help if it's out of our control. So it really depends on the audience or the group. Have you experienced that in this kind of process with one of your projects?
I guess I'm thinking more about the committee type of debrief.
Right.
Where maybe it's more interactive and someone could take a group
Right.
down a rabbit hole.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. So it's, I don't have an easy solution, but I think obviously setting the stage for, we love all the feedback, doesn't mean we're gonna implement everything you suggest, but we appreciate it, you know, and then kind of backing why, right? Justifying why. So,
Great, but I have to leave.
Oh.
I wanted to announce it so it didn't look like
no worries, thank you for coming.
I really do have.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, I wish I could.
So when we talk about, just going back to event attendance objections, obviously budget is a big part of it, but there's not just dollars and cents budget, right? There's kind of other elements of, we call it like a lifestyle budget. Can anyone think of what those objections might be, other than budget to not attending an event? Family, childcare,
Schedule conflict.
schedule. Okay, I'll take us through. You know, travel, right? So there's travel freezes, travel parameters. If your event's on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast, is that worth your time to travel, you know, for 4 days and commit yourself for that amount of time? Obviously, people are still concerned about, there's a large element of people are, you know, concerned, especially in the winter seasons, flu, virus, COVID is still out there. You know, also anxiety. I don't know if anyone else has seen that, but a lot of people are still having trouble with like being in social situations, right? And so we want to acknowledge that it's not for everybody, but that is possibly what people may be dealing with, right? Carbon footprint. You know, everybody's focusing on making sure that we don't, you know, travel too much or spend too much, and that's a big top of mind for everybody, and they want to make sure that, you know, we're taking care of our planet as we all want to, but that is an objection. And then someone mentioned it, personal time, family commitments, workload. There's so many things that are, you know, are fighting the pie for our time, and so, you know, you're up against a lot of challenges, and so not everybody is going to be able to attend, but how do you speak to the majority? Any other ones I didn't mention? Awesome. So we'll dive into marketing tactics to address the budget-conscious attendee. So hopefully there's at least one idea you can take back with you that will help, drive further registration or attendance to your event and tackle these. And we start with obviously a clear value proposition, right? What are the unique benefits and advantages that attendees will gain by participating? Outline why individuals and organizations should invest their time and resources and attention, and emphasize the exclusive perks or experiences offered. This is your unique value proposition, your UVP. So when we look at why CMP Advance, can you share with me why you attended this week? CE. Any other? Timing? Like you had free schedule? Location? Community.
Education is a higher level of information.
Amazing. Yeah? Anything else?
It's different. This is my first time here. I first got a conflict. I missed convening meetings, which I normally go to, and I also wanted to get CE and education, but I hadn't been before.
You hadn't been before. Amazing. Yeah, so I think up here I've included one of the emails that CMP Advance sent to us, and I think they achieved their objectives, right? So time to connect with your peers, designed for CMP leaders, like the content was really specific. 2 days in Toronto, deliberately smaller in scale, priced right, and all your sessions and credits toward other programs too. So I think they did a really great job. On the right-hand side is another event that's coming up for us in New Orleans in May with a client of ours called Great Place to Work. And so this is their unique value proposition to their audience. It's a bunch of senior human capital leaders. And so, experience the vibrance of New Orleans, have fun, enjoy the sights, the sounds, the delicacies, the food. Who doesn't want to go to New Orleans? Learn from the best in the business, main stage impressive lineups of CEOs, CRTOs for Fortune 500 companies. So you're going to hear from people who've been there and done that, and gain actionable insights, right? So really speaking to learning with your peers and sort of taking it back to your organization. This is another event we did with, it was called Spilling the Tea with Deskless Trailblazers. So it was, people who are in the restaurant or workforce who are mobile and don't always have access to a desk or computer. And so how do you manage the communication amongst them? And so we had a lot of fun with it. I think we need to have more fun with our messaging, spilling the tea, let's get into it. And the attendance rate it was just crazy, the registration attendance rate. And what happened was if you attended, you got this kit because it was a tea and chocolate tasting. So you got to play along, experience along, and it really spoke to the people who are looking to learn but also have a little bit of fun and learn a new skill. Tea tasting, who knew that was a thing? This is another program we worked on with Autodesk. They wanted to really hone in with their executive audience during a larger program. And so we had, if anyone's a foodie like me, Jeffrey Zakarian from the Food Network. He during Thanksgiving, he hosted How to Make a Turkey. And they spoke to a really section of their audience, an exclusive group. And they said, bring your family, learn, come celebrate Thanksgiving with us. So they had a great turnout. And they gave everybody the recipe book. And then if you attended, you got an apron and his cookbook. So was that incentive to not just register, but attend and that follow-up touch point, which was a really great experience. So lots of different examples of how to drive your value proposition forward. Tier ticket offerings. I don't think this is a unique idea to anybody. We've all seen the different levels of offerings, but here you can see another example. We're using Great Place to Work because it is coming up soon. So you can see, the $400 off, the early bird, but you can also see what they've done here is they've sectioned it off into 3 different groups. The general, layering the offerings. Not everybody wants to be part of the social evenings. Maybe people want to explore on their own. So they tacked on sort of this VIP club level experience for a dine around as a separate ticket. And then they have kind of a ERGX special pass, which is by invite only. And so that was to focus on people within their community who focus on employee resource groups. And you're only invited, you can't sign up. So it creates this exclusivity and question mark of like, how can I learn more? And creates a really unique track for those people who specialize in that content to be part of the program, but also have content tailored to them. So it's a really unique way of doing it. Another example at the bottom is Frame, who's an organization here in Canada that works with youth and mental health. And so you can see here, you know, they have their partner pricing, their non-partner speaker, and then their groundbreaker. So groundbreakers are like their volunteers. They're younger, they're youth. They obviously can't afford to pay the $400, but they want them to participate and have some skin in the game. So you'll see like the $20 price point, and they're a huge part of the event and the community. Another example is the alumni discount we talked about. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see another event we support. The Canadian Nurses Foundation is, you know, different types of tickets that speak to the audience. Nurse appreciation, ticket price, general admission, group package. If you can't come, gift a ticket to a nurse, right? Like give back by sending someone to the event. So just a few more examples of how to vary up your ticket pricing. You can also leverage your internal teams, right? So how do you leverage your sales teams, your marketing teams, other teams in your organization? Could you build event passes into your scopes of work? If you have larger scopes of work with clients, could you build in a certain amount of passes to your event into those scopes of work, or give them further discounts so that you know up front, oh, I'm guaranteed to get this many people likely to attend. Could you create internal campaigns and help incentivize people to drive that registration and get people, you know, competing with one another for a prize? You can go as big as a trip, and you can go as small as dinner out, but how do you create some friendly competition to have people, you know, help you drive that registration? You can even help them even further by creating customizable email templates that they can personalize to people they're reaching out. So you do 75% of the work, and they do the last 25 to make it really personalized. Does anybody leverage other teams in their organization to kind of help when it's event time? Yes?
Yeah, we create a marketing kit for our relationship-focused staff so they get key talking points. They know when all the marketing emails go out, so if they want to forward it and add any personalization they can. We give them PowerPoint slides and a PDF of our marketing postcard, and then we also send them some so if they see folks in person. And it sounds like a lot, but it's literally like a Word document of talking points.
Yeah, what it is.
Like the website URL,
Yes.
a couple PowerPoint slides, and a postcard you're probably already making.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just putting it all in one email for them.
So they don't have to search and find it.
Yeah, and then the rest of the company's not constantly emailing, being like, when's the event? What's happening?
That still may happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's fantastic. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, we pretty much use every department.
Yeah.
We're an event team of two. On site, ours is also mainly education, so our education department comes to the event and helps, you know, facilitate everything from setup to checking people in and everything. But you know, we have a shipping department, freight. They're sending all the equipment.
Yeah.
We've got sales, selling the equipment that's there so that we don't have to pack it up again. Everyone's involved.
All in.
All in.
Team effort. I love it.
It's, you know, it's not a small company.
No.
It's over 200.
Yeah, but everyone's invested, right, in the success, which is key.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Personal touch, I talked on this a little bit, but we have found that picking up the phone is a huge game changer. You know, people don't get phone calls anymore. I'm sure when a lot of us get calls on our phone, we're like, who's calling me? Nobody speaks to each other anymore. So oftentimes we'll look at, you know, client campaigns and say, okay, who opened their email? Maybe let's give them a call and see why they didn't register. Who abandoned their registration? Let's give them a shout, right? So obviously you can't do this for everybody. It has to be targeted. This is a great job for interns or coordinators or people who are starting or your junior sales teams. But that personal touch goes a long way. And if they're still not going to come, you're going to get maybe great intel into why that you could leverage to help with the planning of your event. having a note from your CEO or organizer, you know, if it's LinkedIn, personalized, even if it's not him sending it himself, him or her, it could be, you know, the assistant penning it and sending it out to a group. It still looks like it's coming from them, and it goes a long way to feel like, oh, this person's reaching out to me directly to invite me. Let me like think about this a little more. And direct mail, it's not dead. It's a little more challenging in this time because everyone's, you know, with remote work and not having all the addresses, but there is an element that still works. We've seen some great tactics with, you know, fake handwritten invites on envelopes, and people are more likely to open it. So it's definitely something worth exploring, especially when we're all on our laptops and on technology. Having something in the mail is a nice change of pace. And then, of course, we want to leverage social media, you know, to drip exciting announcements, partner with influencers, target local audiences. That's really important. Tap into our speaker and sponsor networks, have them share. That was a great example. One of your speakers shared out, or testimonials. You know, share past event highlights. You know, a lot of us do the highlight reel, the sizzle reel at the end of the event, and that's a great way to create a sense of, oh, what am I going to experience, and share that again, especially when you're ramping up at the end of the event and ramping up for your next event. And then share pre-recorded messages from your keynote speakers. We like to try and negotiate this and build this into speaker contracts, right? So if you're paying a lot of money for keynotes, how can you sort of build in that added perk? And I have some examples here to share with you. This is a social media campaign we did around the fundraiser we did with the Canadian Nurses Foundation. And so we had a lot of different influencers in the space. You can see the Gritty Nurse podcast, other influencers, and they were sharing everything from like what I'm wearing to the event, here's what I'm excited about. They were sharing things after, creating buzz. And we didn't pay them. We gave them access to the event and tickets to share with their community. And so that was a huge success in really driving that awareness for the event. Another example, and Dan and Ricky are gonna help me with this one, but for LupaCon, which is another event we did, Neil Pasricha, I don't know if anyone's heard him speak before, fantastic speaker. We negotiated into his contract to create a little message to promote to attendees before the event. So, gentlemen, if you can run that for me.
Hi everybody, this is Neil Pasricha. I am the author of The Book of Awesome, and this year I am a keynote speaker at LupaCon, September 28th, 29th. How much does it cost? It's free. Come, join me. I'm a keynote speaker. There's going to be networking. There's going to be breakout sessions. We're going to have fun. How much does it cost? Nada. Nothing. In this wild, up and down, crazy time, let's spend a couple days hanging out with the RFP community, and let's talk about how we prime our brain for positivity for the rest of 2021 and on to 2022. I will see you there. Remember, it's free. Sign up at lupicon.com, LOOPICON.com. See ya soon, everybody. Hi, everybody. This is Neil Pasricha. I am the author.
So that was obviously a virtual event, but a great opportunity to really put your thought leader in front of your attendee base and drive registration for sure. And then obviously trying various payment tactics. We've all tried a lot of these, the early bird, potentially register now, pay later, working around people's fiscal year ends, their budgets, use it or lose it messaging. You know, if you have learning budget or you want to attend and you don't use it, a lot of times that doesn't get renewed the following year. Group ticket discounts and, you know, buy one, get one, or buy one, bring a colleague. How can we tap into those different promotions to drive more attendance from one individual? And then lastly, something we kind of coined this term, return on connection, right? A lot of people are going to events nowadays, not just for content, but they really want that in-person connection, networking, FaceTime. We've spent a lot of time pent up over the past few years, so this is really an opportunity to get out of your home, get out of your office, and meet people in your community. And oftentimes having sort of that justify spend letter or template or talking points, not just including like, hey, this is what it'll cost, and this is when I'll be gone, but speaking to things like who I'm hoping to connect with, who do you hope to hear or learn from? What's your post-event conference action plan? What do you hope to bring back and implement within the organization? And what do you hope to learn or share back with the rest of the team? So we find that really helpful. And lastly, mutually beneficial ideas for you and your sponsors. Obviously, sponsors are a huge part of our events. Whether they're revenue generating sponsors, they contribute to the bottom line, or they're helping offset costs of the event, they're really important. So focusing on unique, memorable experiences is key, but also managing expectations and driving success. I think a lot of sponsors may come up and sign for an event. Maybe they think they're going to generate leads, and then they're disappointed afterwards. So really having that clear conversation up front of why are you sponsoring the event? What are you looking to get out of it? And then maybe tying a quota to the sponsorship, helping, it's a two-way street, it's a two-way partnership. We would like you to bring a certain number of attendees, and in return, you're going to get this value that we're going to work on together. And the biggest thing we love is going off script, right? We don't have to have, a sponsorship prospectus standard can be a starting point, but there's no reason we can't collaborate on something completely off script together, something that's not listed there. Let's talk and decide what works for each of us that's mutually beneficial. I'll go back to the Nursing Foundation event we did. So just a quick backstory. In 2020, so the Canadian Nurses Foundation, they would do a traditional gala every year, fundraising gala. Then COVID happened. They're like, well, we still need to fundraise. Now what? So we pivoted, sorry for saying the P word, to online. And we did a virtual gala for 2 years, which was a lot of fun. And then in 2022, coming out of the pandemic, when it was time to come back to in-person, we took the opportunity and worked together to say, how can we flip this event on its head? How can we completely relaunch this event to do something different, make it different, sort of mix it up? And so we came up with the concept of the night shift, lighting up the night for nurses. And so it was all about celebrating nurses, having them be the star of the show and have a good time and let loose after their shift. And so it was a huge success, not only because it was, nurses are beyond. They are truly incredible. But it was something different, something they hadn't seen before. But part of that sponsorship prospectus was not just the traditional benefits you see here, but what we talked about doing with the sponsors, because let's be honest, a lot of sponsors, maybe they get tickets to events, a lot of them don't even come, maybe they don't want to come. So we said, why not pay it forward? We'll give you an allotment of tickets that we can say, bring nurses to the event. And so CNF got to award those ticket allotment to nurses who were sponsored by different levels of sponsors. And so the room was filled with nurses. And at the end of the day, that's what we wanted. We had sponsors there looking to recruit and meet new nurses. It was a great win-win opportunity for everybody involved, and a different way of, hey, just throw out my logo or a banner or a lounge or what have you, but really, gifting them that experience, which was really special. And then another example is Hilton at one of our conferences that we worked on a few years ago. They had been recognized as the #1 world's best place to work. And so instead of just sponsoring the conference, they really made the breaks one to remember. They created, you can see here in this photo, the Seeds of Change Strawberry Fields break, which was incredible. They had a break the mold bark where they had chocolate bark that the chef had made, and everyone came up and were literally breaking the chocolate, break the mold. So they really wove in their messaging and showcased why they're a great place to work, why they were #1 on the list. They did back of house tours. This was all woven into the event. So it was an amazing partnership between the event and the sponsor, and everyone was happy and felt that they got value out of that partnership. And that's what I have. I feel like I was talking about questions before we jump into trivia. I know I'm standing between you and a break and coffee and anything I didn't mention. Yes?
Not that you mentioned it, but back on the phone call, the personal
Yes.
phone call thing, how many people actually answer the phone out of all the calls you make?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, okay.
But that doesn't mean we won't try again.
Right.
And even if we leave a voicemail, they hear it, they appreciate it. So yes, it's not a foolproof, especially because again, a lot of people were just like, who's calling me, why? But leaving a voicemail, is another great touch point as well. Great question. No? Are we ready for trivia then? Okay, bust out your phones. I'm going to pull up the gentleman. What did you say? Alt-tab? Thank you. Thank you. So if you scan this QR code, Matt is going to start the game in momentarily. Matt, give everyone a couple seconds to scan. Okay, you want to launch the timer? We're starting in 7 seconds, and this one is the fastest to respond, so best of luck. Here we go. First question, which of the event attendance objections listed was not mentioned? Question 2, what is a payment tactic you should probably avoid? Three, who should you leverage to drive registration? Four, what idea below ensures your sponsorships are mutually beneficial? And last question, what are ways to add a personal touch to drive attendance? Okay, drum roll. Winning players, the winners are third place. Yay, congrats. Second place, Erin, where are you? Woo! And first place, Lisa. Where are you at, Lisa? Oh, amazing. Matt, please award Lisa with her prize. Amazing. Well, I really appreciate you all attending this session, and please provide feedback. I always appreciate that feedback in the sessions, and hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Who's staying tonight? Who's going home? I think a lot of people are going home. Home? Staying? Good. Enjoy. This weather is amazing. Yes. Good one. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate